Hey, Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Bet. Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I think you're the perfect person to do this. So, did you get those? I sent you some questions along with the Zoom invite. Did you have a chance?
I did.
Oh,
I
good.
did.
Good deal. Well, let's just go ahead and jump in and have a
Perfect.
conversation.
Sounds
Uh,
good.
I know a lot of folks at St. Andrews know you, but there's going to be some that don't. And then we also share this on Facebook. So, um, we have folks who are just kind of perusing Facebook that hop on and have looked at some of these as well. So why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself and share a little bit about who you are and your family, your background, anything you'd like to share.
Okay. Well, perfect. My name is Sarah Adamchak, and I'm married to John. We've been married for 17 years, and we have 3 kids. Ethan, who's 17, Maddie is 12, and Ethan is 10. And that covers the family. And as far as my background, I have a master's degree from West Texas A&M in art. I specialized in ceramics and glass blowing and painting. And so I love, I used to love creating art. And then, I graduated and I got a job and stopped creating a little bit as far as that goes. But straight out of college, I went straight over to St. Andrews and started teaching art. And I taught there for 6 years and I loved it. I absolutely love teaching art. And then I felt the pull to be home more with my own kiddos. I was about to have Max, and I started praying about what can I do differently. And God really kind of showed me. I woke up in the middle of the night and with tears on my face, and he said, quit your job and start a preschool. And it was a little shocking.
I bet.
I was like, what? But I kept taking the actions to make it happen. And here I am 10 years later. And I mean, I took action right then, pretty much put in my notice about a month later and started the preschool out of my house. And then it's expanded into a 50 kid childcare center. Yeah.
Little Bird Preschool, right?
Yes. Little Bird.
Great. Good deal. Good deal. And glass blowing. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really cool.
That was pretty fun. I loved it. I wasn't very good at it. I don't say I was a master at it, but I enjoyed learning the process of, dipping the rod in and gathering the glass. It was just fun.
You still have I don't, this is going to show my ignorance. Do you still have the materials and the instruments that you need to do that?
So all of the materials, like the instruments, are at the school. But I do still I found a box in my attic the other day, a tackle box full of all the colors and some little glass bits. And I was like, man, I need to find someone who can actually use this because it's not serving me any purpose sitting in my attic. Yeah.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And let's jump into the questions now. So when you hear the word create, I mean, you are a creative person. I haven't known you very long, but in minutes of meeting you, even kind of before I knew a little bit of what you did and your background, I could just tell you were a creative person. And so when you hear the word create, what do you think of? What comes to mind?
When I first hear the word create, I think of artists. I think of painting and, potters, getting in the clay. That's what I first think of. Probably because I have that background and it's something I do like to dabble in. But then, you're thinking about creating. I think we all create. I think we were all put on this planet to create. I mean, we're all just such creative beings. Everything we think about everything you see around you, someone created. So, yeah. And then I think second, I probably go to musicians. They are just super creative people. Yeah.
So
and then,
I love that you said that you have artists and musicians because of your background, what you did, and then you also talk about everybody created something. We're creative beings. I
Yes.
think there's a tendency for folks to go, well, creating, that's for those creative types, quote unquote, right? It's for the artists, it's for the musicians, it's for kind of this, this select group of people that have certain inclinations or gifts. Do you think, also kind of heard in what you were saying, do you think we need to expand, kind of our understanding of what it means to create and be creative beings?
So I do. When you first called me and you asked me if I would be on this, I panicked because I was thinking, I haven't created art in a long time.
Yeah.
And then as I thought about it, just thinking that we are all creative beings. And yes, we definitely need to expand our mindset of what we think it means to create. Um,
Yeah.
because it's in everything. Like, what are you going to cook for dinner?
Yeah.
What are you going to wear? Like, what job are you going to pursue? That's creating. Like, you're taking the steps
Yeah.
to put that into motion. I don't know.
Yeah. No, you mentioning cooking, and it kind of it jogged something for me in my mind. I think what something's really cool that's been happening maybe the past decade or so is kind of this emergence and growth of artisans, right? Not just artists, but artisans, people who are quitting, kind of more traditional forms of work or vocation that they were in so they could pursue baking, or they could, they set something up online or through Etsy or, whatever. And there's kind of this artisan class emerging, which I think is really neat. And I kind of see that tapping into what you're talking about. People are starting to recognize, I have something to offer. I have something to create. I'm a creative spirit, and it may not look like this or this, but I can do this. And I really love doing this. And it's just been really neat to watch friends and people. Have you had experiences just kind of in your own group of adults and people and do life with? Do you see that happening more and more with other people?
I do. I particularly do because I'm actually in a mentorship program. It's called Made to Do This, and we've been in it for 9 weeks.
Mm.
And everybody in there is a creative, or they're creating something. So they're trying to bring something to life. And so I've been surrounded by them for nine whole weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Just average people, kind of tired of the 9 to 5, and they're wanting to, bring something into this world that will spark joy or spark creativity in other people. But regular people, the regulars, the non-creatives, yeah, I think don't be afraid to, just step out of the nice little box that we like to put ourselves in. I think it's important, take the ribbon off. And that's what I'm saying is like, what I'm trying to say is for everybody is we have to find that creative balance in our life. Stop being mundane. I think if we stop sleepwalking through life, I think a lot of us get in the same old routines,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it becomes kind of like we're sleepwalking. We're just, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but
You are.
we kind of sleepwalk, and we take, like, this one thing, like we drive the same way to work every day. Or if we take a walk, we kind of take the same route. And so it's just about getting out of that, those patterns, and sparking new joy out of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Makes sense.
No, I love that. And to hear you talk about sleepwalking, you know, um, it makes me think of there's something closely connected between like an intentional life and being mindful and the creative act. Like you need this kind of mindfulness and this intentionality in your life.
Yes.
What is that for you? What kind of awakens that creative spirit in you, or what inspires you? What keeps you from sleepwalking?
Yeah. For one is the knowing that I want to be mindful.
Yeah.
Yeah, being intentional every day, waking up, being intentional about how I want my day to flow, how I want things to look, what I need to accomplish. But what keeps me really in that creativeness is sometimes I can tend to get too bogged down with details, or we all do this. We get too bogged down with, I got to go to work and I got to do this and I have to. When we just kind of remove that, get away from all of those, the pressures we put on ourselves, we can open ourselves up to be a little more free, be more mindful, and just stop putting pressure on ourselves to do those. But for me, it's really about like meditation. That gets me back in a creative flow. And honestly, that gets me back being connected to God. And when I'm at my core, seeking and being connected to God, I'm in a completely creative flow state. I'm definitely someone who's pretty spiritual. I can go outside and like see a bird and just know it's God saying hello. Like I can see the light hitting the tree a certain way, and I'm like, oh, hello, God. And it just like fills me with this feeling. But when I'm intentional about it and I go meditate, step out of the noise of the day-to-day and just sit there, and sometimes not even have a plan in mind, I come out of that like 10 to 20 minutes later, and there's God just inputting answers into me. It's like intuitive hits left and right, guiding me. Because I'm always creating something, whether it's a fake business, I'm always daydreaming about something. And poor John, he has to put up with this. I mean, I've thought of, what if we made treehouse yoga? Like, how cool would it be to do yoga up in the trees? Like, this is how my mind works all day. And awesome. So, just tapping into source and sitting with that and being present.
That's great. Now, I've never done yoga. I've never participated in a yoga class, and a lot of that has to do just, the exposure. Especially the past 5 or so years, we've lived in a smaller community, and that just wasn't readily available. But if I were to jump into it, I'd want to do it in a treehouse. That seems like a good idea to me. Like, I'd like my first steps in yoga to be in a treehouse. So I support that idea.
Thank you.
What's most challenging for you about creating? What are some of those things that hold you back sometimes?
Honestly, it would definitely just be what holds me back. I guess it would be what holds me back from creating. Honestly, it is the day-to-day, getting bogged down with the details. Like sometimes when I set out to create something, no matter what it is, I want it to be so perfect before I get it out into the world, and that stops the creative flow. It just shuts it completely down, and then it becomes, got to hit this step and this step and this step. And so removing that and just remembering, doesn't have to be perfect. Just create something and get it out to the world.
Yeah.
Fear of being judged, sometimes the fear of being judged. I'm a little more eccentric than some, but I'm not, because I hold it in. Like, I could probably be pretty out there. But that fear of judgment stops me. Of course, the older I get, I'm shedding that.
Yeah.
Just worried about like how others will perceive me sometimes.
And that's such a journey, I think, for a lot of folks, no matter, what they're doing, it keeps them from risking that perceived judgment, self-condemnation. You know what I mean? That this isn't good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm a musician, and it's weird for me to say that because I don't say that a lot, but I like to write songs, and I've done that for almost 20 years, and it's something I really enjoy. But I'm just now kind of getting a point in my life where I'm ready again to share those with other people,
Yeah.
because some stint in my life where I just started telling myself this is not good enough.
Yes. The limiting beliefs. We put those limiting beliefs on us.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. But it's great.
I was listening to a podcast the other day with Seth Godin, and he was talking about kind of that same thing, like where your mom drops you off at the bowling alley and she gives you $4 and it gets you one game. So you get one game. And so how are you going to play that one game? You're going to be stiff. You're going to be nervous because every frame you play, you're closer to the end, right? You get 10 frames. But when your mom drops you off and it's $4 for unlimited bowling, you're going to bowl the heck out of it. You're going to be creative and you're going to like spin it a certain way and you're going to take risks. And I think it's kind of the same thing. Like we have to be brave enough to step out of the lane of the, I only get one shot, and just let it go. And I don't know.
I love that. That's a great illustration. I love that, because I think a lot of us kind of go through life thinking we just got $4 in our pocket and that's it. And the resource pool is infinite.
Yes.
You just don't believe it. So what's most uplifting then for you when you, whether it be in the process of creating or after the thing, whatever you have been working on is done, what uplifts you about that?
Honestly, for me, it is that connection with God. Mm-hmm. As crazy as that might sound, just knowing that I'm on the right path, or the feel good of feeling, it does uplift me to feel in alignment with what God wants my life to look like. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like validation. And I don't know if you've ever felt that, but you just feel it. It's like a whisper, like you get that hit and you're like, oh, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. And for me, that's super nourishing. Because I'm all about like making your soul happy and so
I can identify with that. And a lot of times what I find is time kind of goes away. Mm-hmm. Right? And you look up and suddenly what was a sunlit room is now a lot darker because you've been involved in this thing, and it didn't feel like time passing at all. And you just were in this space that is sacred, and that no matter what the end result, quote unquote, is, that you got to participate in that with the Creator God. Yeah. That's the payoff. So I consider that the flow state. You're just in flow. Everything is flowing in you, and it just feels so good. You can lose track of time, or I don't know. And everybody has something that they can, again, kind of pushing outside of the box of thinking about creating within the artistic or music realm, whatever, but everybody has something where they can enter into that state, don't you think?
Yes, I do. Yeah, there's all kinds of things. I mean, it could be picking up your guitar again. That's definitely more creative, but it could be, how are you going to get your picky kid to eat better? Okay. You're creating a meal plan. You're I don't know. Yes, every human being has something they can create.
I love that you said creating a meal plan. Erica, my wife, she's a creative spirit too. She probably doesn't brag on herself enough about it, but she really is. But you said meal plan, and one of the things I think my wife loves to create is kind of just action plans, like whether it be a meal plan or how this vacation is going to go down, and we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do. I mean, for her, I see in that. At first, when we first married, I was like, gosh, man, it's so like routine and blah, blah. But now, like, it really is a creative act for her. She kind of can disappear into that, and it's really fun to watch. And then she makes our vacations a lot cooler too, because she takes us to these places I wouldn't have researched and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, love
very,
that.
so tell us a little bit about what you're doing these days. What are you creating these days?
Yeah, so these days I am creating courses for moms. So it's funny that we're talking about creativity, and I want to help moms who feel kind of buried beneath motherhood, and doing all the things, who feel like they've kind of lost themselves. I want to help them rediscover and find their creative spark again for life, and just start living a little happier and a little healthier. So I'm creating courses for that, and I'm also starting a podcast. And
Awesome.
I don't know if I necessarily like the word happy, because it means so many different things for everybody, but I think it is good to just continually seek to be happy and to be in that gratitude mindset. But the podcast is going to come out in January, and it's called the Happy Mama, Happy Soul Hangout. Yeah.
That is awesome. So do you think, I love that there's this, moms, not being one myself, I know one pretty well. There's a lot of pressure there. And that's not something I can even pretend to understand. And so my assumption, I could be wrong, is maybe part of your reason behind, your motivation behind doing this kind of intentionally for moms has something to do with that. Do you see that a lot?
Yes, I definitely see that. Moms have a lot of mom guilt. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to have mom guilt, because it means you want to be present with your kids. It means you want to do all the things right. But in doing so, moms forget to take care of themselves, and they forget that they are a human as well, and they're creative as well. And I think it's okay. There is a point in time that we want to do all of it with our kids. But then at some point, when they get a little older, you kind of wake up and you're like, oh, hey, wait, I'm still here. Who am I? What's my purpose? And so, yeah, I think it's important for moms to remember that there's somebody too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think maybe not as much as it has been in the past, but it's still absolutely there, is kind of the cultural expectation for moms to be the givers, right? Yes. You're to be the nourisher, you're to be the giver, and self-empty. That's what moms have always done, and I'm glad, just as a husband, I'm glad to see that narrative changing ever so slowly and gradually in our culture, but I think that's important. So when you talk about courses for moms, can you tell us a little bit maybe what those courses might be or look like?
Sure. That's what's been keeping me up at night, trying to get these courses figured out. I'm going to have different things like Mama Gets Her Happy Back. And so like just helping moms find that happy spark again. Like I think moms are pretty happy. Like, don't get me wrong. I think we're all pretty happy, but just a different state. And I'm going to have courses on like for moms to get their health back. And for me, I think being in connection with nature is part of being healthy. Eating better, getting outside, moving your body, and showing yourself self-love. And so my courses will kind of follow those little pillars. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. And these are going to start when?
Well, I'm hoping they will start in February. Okay. I have to finish creating them. If not, they'll start around March, something like that.
So you'll kind of lead off with the podcast.
Yes.
Kind of prime the pump that way, generate conversation around this.
Yes. Yeah. Grow community and get to know people.
That's awesome, Sarah. I love that.
I feel like it's what God wants me to do. He's been kind of nudging me for a few years, and I get excited about it, but then I get that limiting belief like, well, who am I to do this? Like, But I'm a mom who, buried herself because I wanted to. I loved it, and I love it still. But then I woke up on basically around my 39th birthday, and I was like, oh, who am I? Curled up in a little ball for a few weeks. Like, I don't even know who I am. What's my purpose? Like, crying full on. And so I've definitely been through it, and I've come out the other side. And I just want to help moms who might be going through that as well. So, and I think God is using me as a tool to even if I just help one person.
Yeah. So. I'm seeing a connection, a connecting point here with some other conversations that I'm having right now with different folks who are in different stages of life and are needing some kind of discernment and a kind of community to gather around them, not a large one, but a small trusted community to sit with them in this discernment, because that I don't know who I am right now. I've poured myself into this and now I'm doing something different. And, I think that's going on. And I'm wondering maybe even if COVID in some ways has, kind of lit a match under that had been resting there. And then we all kind of go inside and go inward. And now we have these people asking these questions. And so I love, because when I hear what you are doing, there's a level of you're helping women discern, you're helping moms discern in some pretty intentional and practical ways, I think. And it's so needed right now, Sarah. So well done. Way to go.
Yeah, thank you.
Glad you're doing it.
It's a scary place to be, but it's just, stripping away the fear of being judged and just getting out and doing it, and doing the work.
Take over the bowling alley.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So we're coming up on 30 minutes here. And I said, I want to be sensitive to your time because you are a happy but busy mama. I know that. So, do you have any final thoughts or anything else you want to share just about creativity or creating or anything? Say it again.
So let me think about that for a second.
Sure. Yeah, you bet.
What do I think about creating for humans? Trying to think real quick. I really think it's important for humans, for all of us, really, just like I said earlier, to step out of the normal, start appreciating life, start seeing different things around you that you may not have seen before. Like I said, like take a different path when you walk. Notice, oh, I've never noticed that tree before, or I've never noticed that house with the yellow door. And just start awakening your senses and awakening to the bigger picture of the world, and just tapping into, like I keep saying, that state of flow where you're one with the energy and the universe and God. Because I really think that's what it's about. I don't think we're supposed to be I know we're not supposed to be spending hours on our phones and perusing Netflix all day. And we are made to be outside. Like, our bodies crave that. And if we're stuck inside, we are not getting the feed that we need. And so I think by just getting outside, even just by getting outside, sitting on your porch or, whatever, go to a park and sit out for a little bit, it helps you feel more alive, and it helps you feel more creative. It might spark something in you that you had never thought of. And you would never know that if you're sitting in your house day after day on your devices, or even just reading the newspaper or whatever, those same patterns. We've got to break that pattern, get outside, meditate, do some meditation, and you'll be amazed at what will awaken in you. I really believe that. I really do. Whether it's just, hey, I feel like making a loaf of bread. I've never baked bread. I feel like picking up my ukulele. It's been sitting there for 20 years. Let me go grab it. we have to get ourselves into that state of awakening to the bigger picture.
Beautifully said. And I'm glad you said it. I think that's a wonderful way to end the conversation.
Perfect.
So, yeah. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And I'll let you know when it's sent out, email to the church, and we can start sharing it on Facebook. And if you want to share it through your Facebook community, I think that'd be great. Give you a chance to also, promote the good things that are coming up for you. So,
sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I hope I did okay.
You did great. You did great. Absolutely. No, this was perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you're getting your guitar back out. That's great.
Yes, me too.
Sounds like it's a big part of you. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a good release. So.
Yes, definitely.
Well, tell your family I said hey, and look forward to seeing y'all again down the road sometime.
Yes, same. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you. Bye.
Good to see you.
You too.
Tell Erica hi.
I will.